Abhishek, Basumallick is here on my show to scan the market and understand how things are looking in the investing landscape. Abhishek, this AGR issue has made a lot of investors in the market nervous. The amount of dues which telecom companies have, the amount of debt some of these telecom companies have from the financials, and probably that is the reason financials are coming under pressure. How are you analyzing things?
Good afternoon, Ajay. Thanks for having me on the show. And before I start, happy Children's Day to all of the viewers of your channel. Coming back to this particular case of AGR, I think, like you rightly pointed out, it's a very, very precarious situation that we see ourselves in. And for the overall national interest, I think it's very important to have a thriving mobile connectivity as well as broadband service for the development of the nation, because there are a lot of ramifications down the line. A lot of businesses depend on the quality of connectivity and things like that. So it's in national interest to have a good mobile connectivity broadband setup. Now, with these kinds of debt burden, regulatory verdicts coming in, things are becoming very, very uncertain. And I think there is a space for the government to come in and clarify its own position in terms of how it is going to see the policy going forward. Right now, I think there is a lot of things which are unclear and unsaid, and that is adding to the uncertainty, making investors in telecom companies, in banks which have holdings or which have outstanding receivables from these telecom companies. And now with the breaking story that we're just putting out, it seems that it is much more widespread than initially we thought it would be. So we need to really figure out what is going wrong and how big this problem could become.
Right. So, of course, financials in particular is coming under pressure because of big exposure to the entire telecom space. Let me also get in my colleague Jayesh Khilnani to talk about some of the stocks which the funds have been buying. Let's talk about SBI funds, Jayesh. Tell us, and then we'll discuss some of those areas with Abhishek as well. Jayesh?
SBI Mutual Fund continues to be India's largest equity asset manager with equity assets of 1.8 lakh crore rupees. What they have in fact done is their top exposure stands at financials and the energy space. But this time around what they did was something contra to the previous two fund houses that we have seen, which is ICICI Pru and HDFC Mutual Fund as well, because they have sold into consumer staples. The other two fund houses, yesterday we saw that, they had added stake in consumer staples. So, this is something contra to what the two houses have done. Whereas they have picked up a significant stake in IT firms and financial names as well, and reduced some of the communication stocks that are listed. Moving on to individual stocks, the top five largest purchases that we have, BHEL, SBI, GAIL and Bharti Airtel, all of them got added in the portfolio. This is somewhat consistent with the PSU theme that has been playing out in the market. And additionally, what they also did was purchase 66 lakh units of Bharat 22 ETF in order to take advantage of the PSU rally that we've had, 5% gain for Bharat 22 ETF. What they have reduced significantly is, of course, Vodafone Idea, 13 crore shares that they have reduced from their portfolio. The stock managed to go down 37%. ITC, Ashok Leyland, Aurobindo and Green Panel also, significant reductions, and the stocks went down about 1 to 25% each.
Thanks for that, Jayesh. Abhishek, what's your call on the entire PSU basket? As my colleague was also just talking about the way SBI funds is also increasing exposure toward the PSU basket via the Bharat ETF. What's your call on overall PSUs, and is there any category of PSUs which you like more than others?
Right. I am pretty much positive on the PSUs, primarily because there is a large dividend play in most of the PSUs, and knowing the fiscal situation that the government is in, I think the dividend yield is going to be consistent with what it has been over the last few years, at least for some of these larger PSUs. Now, out of this basket of PSUs, I like those where, being a PSU helps them. So a company like RITES or Shipyards or BEL, those are companies which benefit being PSU. So those are the areas which I think are worth looking at. Obviously, one needs to do their own homework and due diligence before putting money in. But those are roughly pockets of space which look interesting to me.
Right. Abhishek, last question. Tell us about the areas you are nibbling in. What's your philosophy on the market right now, medium to long term? How are you building portfolio? Are you adding? Are you churning? What's the approach?
Yeah, so I don't really have a short-term view. My medium to long-term view over India has always been slightly on the bullish side for the last at least 1.5 years. I am looking at stocks where I think which can grow reasonably well over the next 1.5 to 2 years, where valuations are not very challenging, and I'm looking at quality companies within that space. So looking at domestic pharma, looking at some of the areas which would get benefited from government spending as and when it happens, looking at specific real estate plays, especially on the commercial real estate side, looking at large engineering companies. Some of them are fairly overvalued, but just keeping tabs on them. Companies like Siemens, ABB, they're on my watch list, but not buying as of now. But overall, I think the domestic pharma does look quite good. Valuations are reasonable for quite a few of them, so worth looking at. So that's basically what I'm doing right now.
Right. All right, Abhishek. Thanks very much for joining us on the show.